I'm Stacy.
Hey, I'm Steph.
Welcome to Harnessing Your Power,
where we discuss everyday topics to break through the stigma and harness our power through self-mastery.
Tune in every Tuesday to join us in conversation as we dig deep into our minds and get closer and closer to our highest self.
Oh, yay!
We're here.
Hi, how are you?
Hey, I'm doing amazing. How are you?
I'm doing amazing. There's actually a decent amount of people hopping on. I'm excited.
We have some people.
I thought we were gonna have to give it a second to have people hop on.
They're here. They're ready.
How's everybody doing tonight? I feel like I have to push this back, or maybe push myself back. All right, cool. Hi guys, how is everybody? How's everybody doing today? Oh, a lot of familiar faces. Hi Ash. All right, cool. Hi.
Oh, hi Elle.
Bless, how are y'all? Oh, feeling blessed and grateful?
Yes, always.
All right, cool. So, doing phenomenal. I love
Amazing.
it. Love the energy. So hi, if you are here from my page, we are going to be talking to the amazing Stacy, who, I don't know if you guys already saw my story, is just somebody that I got into amazing conversation the other day, and we ended up on the phone for about I think it was over an hour just talking.
It was like an hour and a half.
We, at the end, we were like, okay, this was not what the call was supposed to be about, but we were both feeling, at least I was feeling extremely refreshed after that. And if you are coming from Stacy's page, hi, I'm Steph. It's nice to meet you guys. But we got into talking about intention setting, and all that good stuff. And we just wanted to hop on here, get on live together, get to talk to you guys, get a little interactive IG live going. So with that being said, we just kind of wanted to get it started talking to you guys about intention, and what do you guys think intention is? What does intention mean to you, I guess, is the better question. When you think intention, what is the first thing you think? Don't be shy.
Oh, hey Rashid. What's up?
Oh, hi Tashay. Perfect. I like that. Thank you, Katie.
Yeah, okay. So for some people just joining, we just asked to kind of get started. We wanted to be interactive. So we asked you guys what you think of when you hear the word intention, or kind of like what intention means to you. Hey. So hey Amelia too. Thanks for watching, guys. So I guess Katie said purpose first, and I think that is a good place to start. So yeah, when that can be taken both ways, right? To me, intention is something we can be. It is something, and you can also be intentional. So your intention can give you your purpose, and when you act and move intentionally, you're aligned with your purpose, to me. So I do agree with that, Katie.
I like that. Thank you. Hi, Natalie.
Back.
Can you hear me?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Perfect. Technology.
Motives. Yes. And anybody still hopping on, I do want to get some kind of some other answers. Direction. I actually love that. I feel like where intention goes, energy flows. Where guiding you to what you want to do, but again with intentional action, being intentional. Conscious thoughts that are applied to life decisions.
Oh, that's good.
That is really good.
I agree with that. And that kind of, everyone is kind of,
Ooh.
saying similar things. Oh, what's the next one? I can't see the text anymore, but.
Really? It's, Natalie said genuine.
Genuine. Exactly. Genuine with yourself, honestly. Which you have to be before you can even be genuine with anyone else. But to me, when you're intentional, it's when you're making the decision that you want to have this thought, or you want to say this word, or you want to act this way, because it's the way that aligns most to your true self or to who you want to be. So I agree with that. Yeah, I lost my train of thought.
No, you're good. I think when I start thinking intention, I start thinking, I think the one that, like, the answer that I aligned with the most was direction. Like, digging deep and thinking deep inside, like, who truly are you? Who truly do you want to strive to be? And how are you going to go ahead and put some action behind that? I think a lot of the times we are so eager to dive into some things, but I don't know, like, I think an example that I was thinking of before this was, you've done yoga a lot, I know. So, like, going into a yoga practice, and when you first, like, get into that, first setting that intention, and setting the intention to either let go of everything that's weighing on you, or setting the intention to be at peace or feel rejuvenated, every single yoga session after that, like, for me, can mean something different.
Yeah, exactly. That's so funny you brought that up, because yoga is one of the first places when I really started to reflect on intention and being intentional, and realizing that it does impact all those different levels. Like, sometimes in your yoga practice, your intention could be to get a workout. Sometimes it's to stop being mad. Like, it crosses between, like, the physical and the mental and the emotional worlds.
Yes. Sorry, I'm fixing this little, like, tripod thing.
But for me, intentional does extend into all those different aspects of life. And I was kind of reflecting on this call, and I was thinking, like, wow, kind of for me, when I just first think, like, oh, what does it mean to be intentional? Like, mean what you say, right? Like, do what you think is right. But it's not really about doing what you think is right. It's, like I said, doing what is to your true self. And that comes down to being intentional with your time, being intentional with your words, and your words to yourself. That's a big one. And it comes down to really simple things. And I feel like a lot of times, our life is so chaotic. We all have so much going on, and we just skip over some of those simple things, and we think it doesn't matter. But at the end of the day, it does. Every time you mess up and you're like, oh, I'm dumb, you're kind of programming yourself to remember that. Because I bet you every time you do something right, you're not like, oh, I'm great.
Ooh.
So having those type of intentions. And for me, a word example I was thinking about, I say you guys a lot. Every time I talk to 2+ people, I say you guys. And the strong feminist woman I am, I was like, why am I saying you guys? And I was like, well, I don't want to say you girls. That just sounds weird, and that's a little too specific. So I was like, why do I say you guys? Like, I'm not even meaning, like, guys. So I've been noticing myself text that a lot and say it out loud. And I'm trying to be more intentional, and I'm trying to think about, what am I trying to say? Am I trying to say you all, you both, you two? Like, what is it? And for me, instilling those little moments to, like, think and to really, like, think about what I'm going to say and what I'm going to think just makes me feel more in control of my life. And that is where intention for me becomes really powerful. And that's what this is about, is really the power behind those intentional moments, because we are so powerful, but a lot of times we don't feel like we are. So when you take these moments and you reflect on what kind of thought or action or word or energy or next step will be to where you want to go or to who you really are, and you move that way intentionally, you're tapping into your power. And anything is possible at that point, really.
Yes, I love that you said the power, or like the intention behind your words, and like the power behind your words. I was actually listening to something, I think it was a podcast, and they were talking about the power of your words. And you know, a lot of us talk about our words are powerful, but we think like okay, so like being intentional with your words, sometimes like saying things, what's a good example? Like when you say something, actually do it. And sometimes like it's the little things like, hey, I'll call you back in 5 minutes, but maybe I didn't call you back in those 5 minutes. Maybe I called you back within the hour. But thinking about the power of our words, we say our words are powerful, but are you putting power behind your words? Are you actually acknowledging the power behind your words and committing to what you said, committing to that thing? And when I heard that, they were like, it was like a conversation being had. And he was like, if you're not following through with your word, do you really think your words are as powerful as you know they are? And is that hindering like your manifestation, or like the manifestation behind your words?
Exactly. Because like you have to have the intention to do that action, but you have to carry that intention through doing the action and actually seeing it through, and or not, or know that you're going to be busy and don't say, I'm going to call you in 5 minutes. Yes. Think about when the best time is for yourself and say that. That makes your reality better, the other person's reality better, and all of that. Yeah, words are so powerful. But you're right. I really like how you said, like, are we giving it that power? We're putting that power behind it. So whether or not you want it to or not, those words are powerful. Do you want that power to be moving in the way you want, or in the way it's just going to go? And that only comes down to when you're intentional with it and it's all aligned.
Yes, I love that. And I know I said like, so I feel like when I think about intention, I also think about manifestation and like the power of words, power of manifestation, and create, like truly creating your own life. You were talking about how powerful we are, and like I don't know like who on here personal develops. I know you definitely personal develop, but I had my biggest, and I've wanted to like, I don't know, did I tell you my biggest manifestation story?
I'm not sure.
Like the knock on the door. Okay, so I've always wanted to say this on a live. Like I've always wanted to say this on a live, but I have never actually told this story on a live. But talking about the first time that I realized like, wow, how powerful our words are, how powerful what we say is, and what we put out into our intention, like what we put out there. I was the first time I was listening to The Secret. I was going on a run, walking a dog, and I was literally just going through. The dog's name was Happy, so that always made that really exciting. I was like, hey, Happy, even if you were in a bad mood, it's kind of hard to be. And
that's a great dog's name.
Yes, it was so cute. And he was adorable. He was the best. And we would go, and I was listening to The Secret, and in The Secret, it said, opportunity knocks on my door. It was like, say it out loud and repeat it out loud. Opportunity knocks on my door. And this was like my first time venturing out into like the entrepreneur world. I was doing my dog walking thing, and I was like, opportunity knocks on my door. Opportunity knocks on my door. And as I kept doing that, I came home. It was literally a 30-minute walk. I came home. Ruby normally comes with me, and she didn't come with me this time. So I come home, I walk in the door, and she goes, hey babe, you need to go upstairs because our upstairs neighbors knocked on our door and they want you to walk our dogs. I was like, oh, opportunity literally knocked on my door.
In case you didn't believe it.
Yes. And I went upstairs, and when I went upstairs and I talked to her, she was absolutely amazing. She was super sweet. And I walked her dogs, and I actually got paid more from those walks than some of my other walks. And I was like, wow, like setting the intention that opportunity was going to come my way, and opportunity really did come my way. It was amazing. And it was one of my biggest like aha moments.
Yeah, that's amazing. I love that story. But see, it's because everything was aligned. That was like what you were intentionally working on, was expanding your dog walking business. And then you had those intentions when you were saying that affirmation, and you follow through with those intentions by walking the dog and doing a good job at it, like it comes down to every step of the way and every level, from the physical to the emotional to the mental. But that's amazing. I love how it was a literal knock at your door. They were like,
yes,
the universe, God, everything was like, in case you're not getting this message, Steph,
here you go. Yeah. I was just like, oh wow, like that was me. Like I did that. I put that out there. That was
and that's why I think it's such an important topic, and it is so powerful, because what do you think is going to happen when you start to have that kind of intention towards everything in your life?
Yes.
That's why it's something I've been reflecting on so much, and that's why I'm caring about those small words I'm saying and all of this. And
like TRY, because you definitely said that in the beginning.
I definitely did. Tips later, off the live. It's because, you know what, that word, interesting enough, has like this different type of slang definition in my head, and like the way I've always used it than what it's usually used as. So I don't work on that one as hard, because I think it already has a different intention for myself.
So what do you think the intention behind that is for you?
I'm going to. When I say I'm trying to me, it's actually I'm going to, which is weird, because I guess the word doesn't have that strong of a definition.
Yeah.
But
I think like when people say like, hey, can you do this? Yeah, sure, I'll try. Like or like, hey, can you do this for me? Yeah, I'll do it for you. Like,
yeah, definitely. In that sense, I think I just personally have said it a lot, literally replacing going to.
Okay.
Instead of saying like gonna, I would say like I'm trying to.
Yeah, I feel that.
I don't know. But see, again, that comes back down though to like my intention. So yes, I do realize that's not probably the proper usage of that word, but with my intentions behind it, it is what sometimes is working for me in that moment, you know?
Yes.
But yeah, tapping into that intention with everything you do is really when you unlock your power. Lately, I've just been kind of reflecting on different things in life that might not have gone the way I wanted to. So I kind of have a little process I do where I'm like, okay, well, like, what happened? And then my second thing is, what was I in control of? Or what was my fault? Because sometimes shit happens, it's not your fault. You could be saying affirmations all day and you might still have shit happen. Like,
yeah.
But stuff we do have control over. And when you actually think back on what you have control over, you realize, wow, the part that actually went wrong was the only part I had control over. Everything else worked out for me, but I just messed up. And for me, it's like, okay, well, why did I mess up? Maybe that thing wasn't meant for me. Maybe it actually wasn't the right thing for me. Or maybe I wasn't intentionally moving towards it. And that's what happens a lot. Like, an example, even with trading, like the other day, I didn't have like the best trading day. So I was like, oh, I'm going to trade later because like it was bad earlier. So my intention was like, I had a bad time earlier today, so it better be good now. Instead of the intention. And that's also where the words come in, and where it really is just how you're framing this in your mind, because that is still the same thing. But if I would have just had the intention of, oh, I just want to have a good session, you know, like regardless of my trading session earlier, just my intention behind this session. If it would have been, oh, I'm going to have a good session, I would have taken smarter trades and I would have had a good session. But because I wasn't there, my intention was different. So you can even sometimes do the same actions, but when your intention behind it is different, it's not just your affirmations, it's not just saying it. You actually will move differently. Like I actually took different trades. I looked back and I was like, that's not a good trade. Why did I take it? Like, so honestly, trading is just really great for life metaphors.
Yes, I'm so glad that I did not think you were going to use a trading example, but I'm so glad that you used that, because the other day, I was on a session and I was like, I had taken an L right away and I was like, oh, I'm already not there. Like, I'm about to close my computer. And Ruby was like, she looked at me, she was like, stay on the session. It just started. Like, just because you took one L doesn't mean you're not going to have good, like, you know, winning trades right after. You can make that right back. And after that, I actually had an amazing session because she was like, hey, you can still have a great session. I was like, yeah, I can have a great session. And I did. And I was like, okay,
Yeah.
that makes me feel so much better. So now I really do look at it and just be like, okay, cool. Like, did I have a great, but I mean, also, what are you in control of? Did you actually realize your emotions?
Exactly. And that's where when you start to instill intention into every step of your day, I could have realized that before I started. I could have like thought like, oh, what's my intention? If you start everything you do or every thought you have and you say, what's my intention here? Then it would always be good. Obviously, we can't do that before every thought and everything we do because we are humans and we do have control over our emotions, but it does take a lot of work. So having just a few different tangible things to know that you're going to be intentional with and to try to start to strive to work on to have a few things that you will start working on can really help you bring that down into everything else in your life. And that's kind of what happened in the conversation between me and Steph before, where we even started going off on intention. And I kind of went on a whole tangent, mainly because I've been focusing about these few words and my diet, which is another thing. For any of my followers here, you know, I was vegetarian, vegan on and off for like 4.5 years, and I recently like eat steak, which is crazy. And it's because I realized that the only reason I was vegetarian and vegan was for my own health and for the health of the environment and like animal rights and all of that type of part. But I realized like my biggest intention was my own health, because while I am very passionate about the environment, and that is pretty much everything I do with my life, there's debates about the impact of growing certain vegetables like corn and soy, which is majority of vegan food, versus the impact of cows who might be grazed in proper conditions. If you're interested, DM me. I'll send you some studies about that, or some like research papers, whatever. But anyway, so I already was thinking I was already thinking the environmental thing was kind of a toss-up, and it really just depends about the companies you're supporting, the source of everything you're doing. So for me, it was the health thing. And I was like, okay, well, am I vegetarian just to say I'm vegetarian, or am I vegetarian to be healthy? And for me, I knew my intention was always to be healthy, and I realized it was no longer the healthiest option for me. So I feel like diet is a really good thing to look at that with. Like whatever your diet is, if you're vegan, if you're keto, if you don't care, even if you don't care, are you intentionally not caring? Are you intentionally choosing to eat whatever you want and not have to worry about it? Or are you just not paying attention? Because I feel like a lot of the things in life that we do have control over, we don't pay attention to. We do. Hopefully, if you're watching this live, I do hope you live in a place of food security where you do have the access and option to choose what you get to eat. If you don't, another conversation, but I hope that you do if you're listening. That being said, are you intentionally not paying attention to what you're eating? Or is it just passing you by? Are you just being lazy? Are you intentionally choosing to eat healthy, to support yourself, to be the best you can? Are you intentionally choosing to not? It's okay if you're not. This doesn't mean just always do the right thing or the best thing. It's just do the best thing for you. And when you start to realize those things, you start to see, wow, like I do actually have control over majority of my day. Right now, with everything happening on the news and TV, we all know these last few days, I don't even want to mention it, but are you feeling stressed out about it? Well, you have the control to turn the TV off, to walk away from the phone. Are you intentionally checking it because you're curious and maybe it'll put your stress down to see what's happening? Or are you just caught up in it, you're not paying attention, and you're not even making that choice for yourself? Even if you're turning on the TV, are you choosing to do that? Or is it just happening because you're caught up in it? And since the beginning of this year, so much has happened that we've just been caught up in, that so many moments I feel so out of control. I feel so overwhelmed. And a lot of times I do just have to disconnect and step back and be like, wow, I wasn't being intentional at all. I was just letting myself get caught up in all this. Now I'm stressed out. Where are my intentions? And my intentions are not usually with what's stressing me out. Sometimes it is, and sometimes it's something you have to deal with, but usually you'll see it's not.
Yes. And when you talked about like being intentionally healthy, are you wanting to be healthy or are you wanting to look a certain way?
Right.
Because when I actually, like, you actually influenced a lot of my decisions to cut meat. So for anybody who doesn't know, I'm not vegetarian, but I have cut meat for the most part. I would consider myself to be pescatarian. I do still eat fish. But I mean, for me, like, a lot of the intention behind that was like, I did a lot of, like, I looked through a lot of the research that you had posted and all of that. But at first it was just health. At first it was just, I know it's going to help me lose weight. I know it's going to help me, like, get to a better place. And it did immediately. Like, we started eating less meat and we had slimmed down. But then I got to a place where I was hitting the gym a lot and I, like, plateaued. And I was like, well, how do I fix this? And my intention was literally just to gain muscle. So you were talking about, like, different diets, and, like, I ended up venturing out to if it fits your macros. And I started counting my macros. And that was the only way that I was able to make sure that I was getting enough carbs, enough protein, enough whatever it was that I needed. Because it was a lot. It was a lot more than I was used to eating, because I didn't realize, like, how much it cuts down. But I wasn't necessarily eating healthy.
Right.
I was just eating for my body, and it worked. Like, I was able to, like, get to where I wanted to be. But again, like, what is your intention to be healthy, or do you not have any intention behind that at all?
Exactly. And that's really what it comes down to, is just paying attention and setting those intentions. And at every step too, a greater intention for your day, for your week, whatever. But then when those moments come up, and especially if something's not going like you want, it's a great way to reflect and see, were you being intentional with that?
Yes. Jake actually asked a question that it was a little while back when we were talking about the T word. And he said, what if you're trying something new and say you will instead of try, because the fact you've never done it before? But I think for me, like, I guess it's different depending on what your intention is behind that word. But like, maybe I'll test it out, or yes, I'll check it out. But if you just say try, the reason that we don't say that word, a lot of people say, is TRY, truly restricting yourself. Are you really gonna try? Like, what is your intention behind that word? Or are you just gonna, I don't know, like,
it's kind of like a quick out. And
yes.
I feel like when you're saying, I'm gonna try that, or I'll try whatever, you're almost saying, I'm gonna fail. Because you're kind of saying, like, oh, I'm gonna try, but it's not gonna work. Or I'm gonna try, but I didn't have time. Or, like, you know, I feel like it's just something that usually means, like, but it didn't happen.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Or I tried it out, but.
Yeah, there's always, like, a but after it. But yeah, I think it does also come down to the intentions you put behind it yourself. Like how I said, sometimes for me, I don't even use it in that context. I use it grammatically incorrect. So
I think also, like, when it comes to, since you mentioned, or Jake, since you mentioned trying something new, I think when you're gonna do something new, and you say trying, like, are you doing something new and already seeing a good outcome out of it? Like, I guess it depends. It could be anything. If it's a hobby, are you going to go into that thinking, oh, I'm going to love this? Or is it something I'm already interested in? Or is it somebody that's telling you to do something new, and you're just like, I guess I'll try that, I guess.
I'll do it. Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, exactly.
That was a good question, though.
That was. Yeah, that's where, when you're intentional with why you're doing something, can help the outcome be more positive.
Ooh.
Are more people saying stuff? I can't see any of the text.
Why? That's so
I don't know.
weird.
It just hasn't loaded, but it's okay. Just read me the good stuff.
Said, it's like saying I quit smoking versus I'm not a smoker. The body listens to your thoughts and words. And I actually love that. Putting things into I am. Like, affirmations.
I do love that.
Yeah, like, I am not a smoker. And really, something that Ruby actually does on all of our mirror, well, we moved and we have it on these mirrors, but I noticed, like, when we put my vanity mirror up, there was affirmations on there. So, like, every day we'd see it, and, like, some of the ones that she had is, I love being on the phones, I am a 7-figure trader, I am successful, I, like, all of these things that when you wake up and the first thing you see is, oh yeah, like that is what I've been striving to do. That is what I've been working on every day. Yes, like I'm going to go ahead and do something that follows my intention.
Exactly. And not only it follows your intention, but being intentional to me helps those manifestations. Because sometimes, for example, I love being on the phone, or I love talking to people, or being out there. Sometimes that's something that I would write or say as an affirmation because I know it's something that I am striving to be like. I know that I don't actually love it, surprise, but I want to, and that's like who I want to be. So I'm saying that that's me already. So that's where my intention comes into play, because I'm saying like, oh, that's me already. So then when I get on the call, I'm like, oh, that's me already. So my intention is to be that. My intention is to do great on this call. Instead of thinking like, oh, that's not me yet, so this is going to be scary and hard. That's where intention can come in and be like, no, that's why it's going to be good.
Visualizing your higher self and showing up as her. I love it.
Honestly, and visualization is something that, oops, am I back? Okay.
Yes, you're back.
Perfect. Visualization is something that I hadn't realized was actually part of my life at a lot younger age than I was consciously aware until recently, because I used to always be on dance teams and cheer teams, and I used to take tumbling lessons multiple times throughout this little cheerleader Stacy, because I could not do a back handspring, and that's like a basic cheer move if you know about that. And to be honest, I didn't like tumbling. I don't like the feeling of flipping over. Like I don't even like to be underwater in the pool and like do a little flip. I don't like that feeling. But I was just a kid and I was like, oh, I'm just scared, or I just need to learn. So one thing that my tumbling coach, when I was like 10 or 12, taught me was to, before you stand there and, you know, take off running and do your little jump and everything, he was like, see yourself doing it. And the times that I would actually take a moment and like see myself doing it, then as I was doing it, I felt like I'd already done it, you know? So that is a really interesting example of visualization in something physical. But the same is true for our thoughts and everything mental as well. Yes.
Wow, that's I feel like I was visualizing myself tumbling.
Right? No, literally right now. Like sometimes I still think back about it, and it's one of the strongest things I can visualize is myself tumbling. And I was never a tumbler. I was able to eventually do just a back handspring. And that's it. But I'll like see myself in my head like do a whole little tumbling set. And I think it's because at such a young age I started doing that. That also just shows the power in it too, though. If you visualize your highest goals every day, and then in 10 years when you're living it, you're going to be like, wow.
I think also sometimes like, okay, cool, we've set the intention now. Yes, there could be some desire behind it, but I think visualization truly puts you in that feeling, truly puts you in that place where you're like, oh yes, I can do this. Oh yes, this, like, I really do want this. Because I can't tell you how many times, like, yes, there can be intention, but what are you putting behind it?
Right.
And I think for me, like, it's come through a lot when I got into training, actually. I feel like has been like when I really, really noticed that, like, hey, are you really visualizing your highest self, and are you doing it? I think there's been plenty of times where, like, I can think of something that I want, or like I can think who I like, the things that I want to do next, but when you sit down and like I think we had talked about this before, like the journal entry as your higher self, or your journal entry as your future self.
Mm-hmm.
And visualizing yourself as her, like who's you in 10 years, or who's you in 5 years, or if you're a guy on here, visualizing yourself as your future 5-year best self or 10-year best self. And I think that's something that really puts me in that feeling like, hey, today, I mean, what's like anybody's idea of a perfect day? Talking about, hey, today was my perfect day, dating it, feeling it, saying, like, explaining how I'm feeling. And I feel like after that, it's so much easier for me to be aligned and put the action behind my intention.
Yeah, for sure. That's actually one of my favorite journal prompts to do, and I've done it a few times, sometimes more specific about like the type of friends or just what overall the type of person. And then I love it because it helps me address like me right now. Because I was also something about my diet for really long before I was a little bit stricter with what I ate, like I am now. I would say like, I'm young, I'm not going to eat this my whole life. I know this isn't healthy, this habit, but whatever. And just stepping into my intention, sometimes I still indulge, obviously, like once a day, probably I'll eat a treat, like, but I'm choosing. I'm like, okay, I know this isn't necessarily the option that I want for my future self, or maybe my future self to make the same choice, but I'm acknowledging it and I'm choosing the reward of the delicious treat. And that's my intention for it, is going to be to enjoy it. And then also just with diet, that can help you, or at least it helps me to be able to enjoy stuff, because there has been periods where I have been trying. I was trying, and I was trying back then because I was failing, so to have a stricter diet, and then when I would eat something that like didn't align with it, I would feel so guilty. But if I would have just had the intention to know that I was breaking my diet and I was going to enjoy it, then you can enjoy it.
Yes. I think that's honestly why I got into counting my macros, because I never felt guilty. It was whatever fit. I wasn't eating. I mean, now looking back, I'm like, yes, I should eat for my health and like all of that. But I was eating for my body, like for my physique. And I was like, okay, cool. Like this is going to fit. I'm going to look good anyways. And yeah. Drea said something else, and Drea, you sound awesome. She said, I put my doctor coat on when I study. Gets me in that headspace. Dress up for you and your success. And yes, I feel like working from home or working remote, or like for anybody who has an at-home anything, I think that's one of the biggest things that I've had to get past, is getting up and like staying in like comfy clothes, or like, and I still do it all the time. I mean, I'm in sweatpants right now. And it's been like that all day. But when you get up, like look good, feel good, dressing how you want to be addressed, I think that's like a big thing. Like when you go out, like, have you ever like put something on and you're like, should I change? How do you want to be dressed? Like, how are you feeling? Do you want to feel better? Do you want to feel good?
Exactly. And that's also something I've realized a lot in the last few months as well, when I went like too many days, and I will say, in like the same clothes, and I was like, or without brushing my hair. It wasn't as much the clothes as me brushing my hair, and I was like, wow, do I just brush my hair for other people to see? Like, and I was like, no, I brush my hair so it's not tangled. And at this point, my hair was like a tangled mess too. So beyond it just looks like, it was no longer convenient. Now it was a mess I had to like detangle in the shower. And I was like, that's crazy. Has my intention this whole time just been brushing my hair because other people are seeing me? Yeah. And that's what I thought. I thought that was my intention. That's why I wasn't brushing my hair. But then I realized, no, I'm brushing my hair because I have long hair and it needs to be brushed. Like, regardless of, it still doesn't look great, even though I just brushed it. But, you know, so yeah, definitely this time where a lot of people are at home more, just in different situations than we might have ever been in before, that is a big thing, is really just like showing up for yourself and putting that same type of effort and energy and intention into yourself and into whatever is going to help you be successful, like you would if you were in a room with 10 people who are like your idols.
Yes. I love that you said showing up for yourself, because I actually did a call the other day about being self-reliant and counting on you. Like, can you count on yourself? And I think that's, like, at some point we've all been at a place where we can't necessarily count on ourselves. Like, Ruby always gives an example of like being your own parent and like telling yourself, hey, like you need to stop doing this, or like the little habits that you want to break. Like, why do we not listen to ourselves? And listening to ourselves, it really is the highest form of self-love. Like, if, you know, as a partner, like if your boyfriend came to you and said, hey, I'm gonna get this done, and he didn't follow through, would you feel less loved? And like when I think of that, I'm like, yes, I would. So if you're not listening to you, like, do you feel less loved? Like, do you have less respect for yourself?
Yeah. Interesting.
And then like I was actually watching a TED Talk, and one of the things that she had said on there is, what you are now is what you have been, and what you will be is what you do now. I was like, oh, there's something really comforting about that, because it's never too late to like literally, like, what you will be is what you do now. And I love that.
Yeah, I do too. Because that's all kind of tying back everything we've said about our future self and moving with our intentions now to who we are and who we're becoming. And that's an amazing way to look at it too, to also let go. That was something that you had mentioned before, Steph, is when we're able to be intentional, you're able to let go. Like in that yoga class, maybe that was your specific intention. But even right now, I am on a trip right now for my brother's wedding, and I'm super anxious to be around my family for a lot of different reasons. So Steph and I were just talking about this, and I was like, well, you know, instead of just letting this anxiety overwhelm me, my intention is going to be to address what needs to be addressed and have an amazing weekend around all this love of a wedding. So by setting that intention, it's helping me let go of that anxiety. And then that is helping my future self. It all just goes hand in hand.
Yes, I love that. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah.
Somebody said, age doesn't matter. Keep doing you. Let go and let God. Karma will take care.
Yep. As long as you are putting yourself out there in the right way. And that's where, to me, a huge thing that we kind of touched around a little bit, and the last thing I'll say about being intentional about something is being intentional about what you consume. So we did talk about that about food, right? That's everything else. That's the music you listen to, the TV you watch, what other products you use, and how that physically affects. More about the mental. It is like the people you talk to. Steph mentioned that we've been talking a lot more lately, and I love it because, as you guys might notice, we have very similar vibes and mind states and everything, and I love talking to her. So now sometimes I'm like, wow, I want to talk to Steph about this because she's going to help elevate me and we are going to get there. Versus, you know, maybe some other people, it wouldn't be the same. So that's being intentional about where I want this to go. And that's why I'm not watching TV right now, because I'm being intentional that I don't want to consume that. And whether or not you think you're watching it and it's not affecting you, or maybe it's affecting you in the way you want, like, to me, it's having a little bit of an understanding about who's putting that out, or what's putting that out, or what their goal is. And if their intention, whoever is putting whatever out, if their intention aligns with you who's taking it in, then that's great. It doesn't really matter what it is and whether if you agree with it or not. It's just about the intentions on both sides and if those align. And for me right now, it doesn't. So I'm tuning out, you know, and maybe for you it does. So you want to tune in, even if it causes you anxiety, but it's there. So it's really just about reflecting more into yourself and who you want to be, more so than who you are. And that's why I really like what you said, Steph, because who you are really is just everything up until this moment, right? Yes. And hey, it's another new moment. Now is another new moment. You can keep having a new rebirth. I posted on my Instagram one day, every day is a rebirth. It really is. Every moment can be whatever you need to keep working towards your next self with your intentions and following through with those actions. And then your life is amazing.
Yes, I love that you said like what you consume, not just food, but like music and TV. And I'll keep it super brief. I know we've been on here for a little bit, but like I had been talking about like manifesting with music, and I think like a lot of the times like the people, like I've heard people say like give up music and listen to personal development only. But I recently like listened to a podcast talking about manifesting with music, and have like, again, like, are you listening to music that's on the radio? Are you listening to WAP every day? Or are you listening to songs and stuff with meaning behind it? And back like forever ago, I used to listen to this song. It's actually a Christian song, and it's literally called "You Can't Stop Me." And I forgot like the feeling behind listening to that song, but it was also like one of my gym songs at the time. And like I remember like running, and it was like my first like 8-minute mile, and I was so freaking excited. It was like the fastest I had ever done it on the treadmill. And like I now listening to that song, it literally brings me back to that emotion and like that heightened state. Or like, I don't know if you've ever, like, I'm sure everyone has had an experience where like you listen to an old song and it immediately brings you back to a time.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, actually, side note, I saw a study once of them using music. I actually think it's a big thing now, like music therapy for people with Alzheimer's or other type of memory loss.
Damn.
Because they've done a lot of studies, and it does trigger a different part of your brain that isn't triggered by anything else other than like music. So it is that powerful. And that being said, like what else is it triggering in our brain, you know? Yes. For me, the lyrics are a big thing, but I know a lot of people also talk about the different frequency of the songs and stuff. That's getting a little technical. At certain times when I'm meditating, I do listen to specific frequencies. But I saw someone once say, like, don't listen to any rap because it's all on a frequency that is actually, like, negative. For those of you who don't know, my boyfriend is a rapper. So I definitely listen to rap music, but I'm mindful with it. I'm intentional. The other day, you know, we're driving around in the car. We're listening to some super hardcore rap talking about crazy violent stuff. And I'm enjoying it because it's driving in the car and I'm separating it from reality and just, you know, enjoying the music. That's the beautiful thing about music. Then I was going to trade later that night and I opened up Spotify and that same type of music started playing. And I was like, whoa, I can't have this right now. Right now I need something that's positive. So that's where it doesn't mean like never consume something that might not be the best for you, but just be intentional and know that in that moment when I was driving, it's because I wasn't trying to do anything else. I mean, I wasn't even driving. I was passenger. So I wasn't trying to do anything except pretend I'm the person in the song or jam out, you know? So that was my intention there. So that's okay, to me at least. And I think that's where intentions can help you work towards what you want without also being too strict and without being limiting. Because it's never limiting myself. It's never saying, oh, I can't listen to that. It's me saying, ooh, my intention is not that music right now.
Yes. Drea actually said Jason Lewis on YouTube is a great music therapy channel. I actually took a screenshot.
Okay. Cool.
And it's crazy because as soon as you said, or maybe not crazy, I'm striving not to use that word as much, but
me too.
as soon as you said something about listening to different frequencies, Elenita said tunes you into the frequency you need, and it was literally at the same time. I thought that was really good.
Wow.
Let me see if there's anything else in here that we. She said music therapy for anxiety and ADHD too. I like that.
Yeah. I listen to a certain frequency when I'm anxious. I don't know. I'm like nerdy into all these things. So I actually have a notebook, not with me right now, where I have different, like the hertz, the actual hertz numbers, different ones for different things. Because there's some to relax and some to elevate. And when I was first getting into it, I wasn't being as intentional. And I realized I was listening to some of the ones supposed to be more relaxing when I wanted to study. And I don't necessarily want to relax when I'm studying. So even that no matter what you would think would be good for you, but without actually being intentional, taking a moment to think, do a little research, whatever, I wasn't actually making the best choice.
Yeah. Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
People are still joining. Hi, guys.
Mine has not updated at all, but I don't want to leave.
Damn. Yeah, nobody else is really saying too much. So I know like Instagram will cut us off after like an hour, and I actually feel like this hasn't even been an hour. But I'm excited that we even got on here to have conversation. We actually spoke before this, and like we were talking about what we wanted to talk about, and then as we started talking, we were like, no, wait, we should just wait and talk about it live. So this was actually really not planned, and a lot of it was just us talking. So thank you for everybody who did interact, but I know Stacy and I had talked about asking you guys, what is everybody's intention for the rest of their night? And what's your intention for the rest of your night, actually?
Yeah. So I am here in Florida. For those of you who don't know me or might know me, I'm from Florida, but I live in California now. But I'm in Florida for my brother's wedding. So my intentions for tonight are to hopefully see a few friends, and then get some rest because I have a crazy wedding. Crazy actually might be being used in the correct way to describe this weekend. Because it's so many different adjectives that I could say. But I have this phenomenal wedding weekend that's starting at 8 a.m. tomorrow. So my intentions for tonight are to see some people I love and get some rest.
Yes. My intentions for tonight are to get organized, because we have the convention weekend this weekend, and I also had previously said on my story I was going to record a video tonight, so to get that out of the way, get organized for the weekend, so that we can have an awesome Airbnb weekend. I'm excited about it.
Amazing. Nice.
We don't have too many shared intentions.
That's okay. If you don't want to share, I do hope that you do start reflecting on this yourself. If not tonight, I know sometimes at night it might be weird to think about these things, especially if it's new, but if not, then maybe tomorrow you can think about your intention for that day, or if something comes up and you're not sure about it, think about your intentions before you proceed with it. And thank you everyone for joining. I hope you really gained something out of our conversation.
Yes, thank you guys for being on. For anybody who's still just recently hopped on, thank you for hopping on. Sorry, we're about to hop off, but we still appreciate you guys, and we'll talk to you guys soon.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you, Stacy, by the way. Thank you for being on here with me, and I'm really grateful to like just have somebody to have these conversations with, and who's willing to hop on live with me and have these conversations with not just myself, but everybody on Instagram. So thank you.
Yes. Thank you, Steph, for having me.
Of course, anytime. We'll talk soon, and good night, guys.
All right. Good night.